Most students spend hours going through their notes, feel like they learn the material, and then sit in an exam and go completely blank. And if that's happened to you, it's not because you didn't study hard enough, it's because how you studied. I'm a final year med student, and 2 years ago, I learned this the hard way. I passed one exam, and on the same content, completely bombed the next one. Same material, different question type. And that difference exposed a gap in my studying that I didn't even know existed. In this video, I'm going to show you what that gap is and exactly how to fix it using one of the most underused tools in evidence-based studying, free recall. And once you start using it correctly, you retain material at a level that most students never reach, no matter how many hours they put in. Before I give you the methods, you need to understand something, because most students think recall is one thing. It's not. There are 3 completely different types, and which one you train determines what you can actually do on the exam day. Think of it like a courtroom. Imagine you witnessed a crime. The detective shows up and asks you to pick the suspect out of a lineup of 6 people. You scan the faces, and one of them looks familiar. You point, that one. That's recognition. You didn't have to pull anything from your memory. The answer was right in front of you. You just had to match it. Now imagine the detective sits you down and says, "Tell me what the suspect was wearing." You have to think, but the question is still guiding you. It's pointing your memory in a direction. That's cued recall. You're being prompted, but you have to retrieve the answer yourself. Now imagine you walk into court and the judge says, "Tell us everything you remember about that night." No lineup, no questions, no hints. Just you and everything your brain stored. That's free recall. Nothing is given to you. You either know it or you don't. Here's the thing. Most students only ever train the first 2. They reread notes, which is recognition. They do flashcards and MCQs, which is cued recall. And they sit an essay paper where the judge asks them to testify from scratch. And their mind goes blank because they never trained that third type. That's exactly what happened to me. 2 years back, I had a set of exams in med school covering pharmacology, pathology, and microbiology. I studied hard, used past paper MCQs to revise, and I did well. Then 4 months later, the same content came up again, but this time it was an essay paper. I thought it would be easy because I already did well on the MCQ exam on this material, but I couldn't answer a single essay question properly. Not because I didn't know the content, but because MCQs only train recognition and cued recall. Nobody put me in the witness box and asked me to testify from scratch. So when they did, I had nothing. So how do you actually train free recall? Let me give you 2 methods. The first is one I don't actually use much, but most students find it really useful when they're just starting out, and it's worth knowing. It's called the blurting method. Here's how it works. You go through your notes and learn a topic properly. Then close everything. Your books, your laptop, all of it. And take a 10 to 15 minute break. Then grab a blank sheet of paper and write down everything that you can remember about that topic from your memory. No looking back, no hints, just your brain and a blank page. Then go back through your notes and see what's missing. That's free recall in its purest form. You're putting yourself in the witness box with no lineup and no questions, just like the essay exam will. But here's where most students do it wrong. They write their blurt as a list, point 1, point 2, and point 3. And that's fine, but it misses something important. Your brain doesn't store information as bullet points. It stores it as a web. Concepts connected to other concepts, ideas linked by relationships, and cause and effect. So to make this method more effective, instead of listing, use nonlinear note-taking methods. Mind maps, diagrams, arrows connecting one concept to another. Show the relationships, not just the facts. Why does this matter? Because when you draw the connection between 2 ideas, you are not just remembering them, you are reinforcing the testimony. You are not just saying the suspect had a blue jacket, you are saying the suspect had a blue jacket because he'd just come from the building across the street. That context is what makes memory stick. This alone will make your blurts dramatically more useful than what most students produce. Because now you are not just checking what you remember, you are rebuilding the structure of the topic every time you do it. And every time you rebuild it, the gaps get smaller. The second method is what I actually use now. And I think it's more effective than the blurting method for one specific reason. It's using essay-type past paper questions to do your free recall. Here's how it works. Learn a topic first, properly. Then find essay questions from past papers on that topic and try to answer them from your memory. Close your notes, sit down, and answer like you are in the exam. Then go back through your notes and check what you missed. Now, why do I prefer this over just blurting everything into a page? Because the question does something the blurting method doesn't. It forces you to recall high-yield parts of the topic. When an examiner writes an essay question, they are asking about the things that matter most. So when you try to answer it, the gaps you expose aren't random gaps. They are the exact gaps that will cost you marks on the exam day. Going back to the courtroom, in the blurting method, you are giving your full testimony. Everything you remember in whatever order it comes to you. In the essay method, the judge is asking you specific questions, and that pressure reveals something different. Not just what you forgot, but what you forgot that actually mattered. That's the difference. The blurting method tells you what's missing from your memory. The essay method tells you what's missing from your knowledge. The gaps that are actually going to hurt you. And once you start doing free recall this way, actually answering questions from scratch, rebuilding your testimony every time you sit down to study, you'll notice something shift. Your retention level stops being surface level familiarity and starts being something you can actually use. Recognition becomes real recall. And that's the difference between walking into an essay exam confident and walking out having answered every question properly. Now, free recall is one part of this. But to use it properly, you need to know how to actually find and work through past paper questions. So you're targeting the right material, not just randomly picking questions and hoping for the best. I've got a full video on exactly that. Watch it here next.